think about how many times our listeners and myself and you have done that, where we've stopped ourselves from doing something because we start to get these sort of crazy thoughts in our mind, and we prevent ourselves from embracing a new experience and capturing this power of a moment. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Hi, Lynette. I noticed you're wearing the same outfit that you were wearing last time. Me, on the other hand, I've got a full wardrobe change with my glasses. But of
I'm
course,
gonna get some more glasses. I have to pick up some more glasses. I know.
our audience knows that we do a couple of these at one time, right?
Yeah. So
we're having some fun with it. So
all
we've
right.
got a little bit of a different "how might we" statement this time. So away you go, kick it off like you
All
usually.
right. So we were just finishing talking about an experience that you had in the airport the other day, and we thought, that's a really interesting experience that you had, and so we translated that into perhaps a "how might we" statement for our listeners. And really, it comes down to like, how might we help our listeners capture the power of a moment? So when you think about moments that you're faced with every day, you can either embrace them or not embrace them, and then by not embracing them, what impacts are they really having on your life or the other people around you? So go ahead, Lauren, share the story that you talked about meeting Ron MacLean, I guess, in the airport.
I will. What inspired me around this too is that, and I'm hoping that I'm doing justice to our wonderful Japanese listeners or viewers, and I think there's a beautiful phrase. I think it's called Ichigo Ichie, and I think the essence of it, and I hope I'm doing justice to it, is kind of this notion of one encounter, one chance.
One encounter, one chance?
Yeah, kind of the
essence.
essence.
Love it.
That moment won't come again, right? And yesterday I was in the airport flying from Edmonton back here to our place in the Okanagan, and Ron MacLean, who many of our audience would know as an iconic Canadian hockey sports broadcaster. He's famous, of course, with being on with Don Cherry and Hockey Night in Canada, but he's really become just such an iconic ambassador for the game and for the Canadianism of it. I was thinking, gosh, he's a busy guy and he's kind of, well known, and we're kind of ended up at the Starbucks at the airport, sitting right beside each other. And, I was thinking, gosh, I was starting to make up the story in my mind around he's too busy. I don't want to bother him. Just let him enjoy his coffee. And then this young woman came up and introduced, and he was so gracious to her. First thing he asked her, what was her name? And then would she like to take a selfie with him?
Wow.
And then the brave person I am, following right in her footsteps, I jumped in and said,
selfie.
Ron, while you're up, would you mind taking a selfie with me too? And after that, we had this conversation. He was remarking around how he and I were typing the same way on our iPhone with one finger. And then we started talking about hockey. I had a chance. He asked me what I did. I told him about what I was doing and my background and working for the LA Kings Hockey Club. And that really sparked a lot of interest around, Phil Anschutz and maybe bringing the NHL to Europe and a whole bunch of fun things. And then he had to go because he was meeting his colleagues because he was going off to Langley, British Columbia. And I was thinking, gosh, one encounter, one chance.
Yeah. And
if I'd have stuck to that story, Lynette, and just made it up in my head, and I'd have missed that. I took a selfie with him. I had a fun conversation with him and just made me feel great around it. And, he was so gracious about it too.
Exactly. But the thing that gets me the most about that story is that limiting belief that you were having, that story that you were telling yourself beforehand. Like, it's, well, maybe he's too busy and wants to have his coffee. Well, think about how many times our listeners and myself and you have done that, where we've stopped ourselves from doing something because we start to get these sort of crazy thoughts in our mind. And we prevent ourselves from embracing a new experience and capturing this power of a moment. It's really crazy. And did it turn out the way that your mind was saying? No, absolutely not. He was open arms and welcome to it. So it's crazy. I love that story. I had a similar experience the other day here at work, probably not as significant as meeting Rob MacLean, but just even walking back into the office after 2 weeks off of work. One of our senior executives is sitting in his office. He's sort of faced towards the door and he's on his iPad. And I was walking along with somebody else and we were walking together and she continued on and I kind of just stopped and I thought, I reached my head in and I said, hey, how are you? How was your holidays? And, we ended up having this really great conversation. We talked a lot about how, well-deserved getting a break and all that kind of stuff. And it was just such a wonderful experience. And it was just a small experience, but I thought to myself, that's interesting that she would walk on and I didn't. And nothing, it didn't take away from the experience of the colleague. But for me, it was just a good feeling. And we talked our last vlog about play at work. Well, just even being able to show up at work and feel like you belong and part of a community is all part of it. And so I think if I would have walked past and thought, oh God, he probably doesn't want to be bothered, then it doesn't make you feel very good either. So
I love what you just said about walking past. And I think that is the essence, is being self-aware and not just automatically to walk past these moments.
Exactly.
And, but I think and not to make stories up in our head that the moments somehow, don't deserve the encounter. And I think if we encourage our audience and our listeners and ourselves, this is as much about ourselves, right, is to take advantage of these moments that present ourselves really daily, just to have that one encounter, one chance, because we're likely not to have that chance the same exact way again. I was thinking about sometime when I see all these wonderful people that do all the work cleaning bathrooms in airports. Sometime, and I'm not holding myself up as a paragon of virtue around this, but sometimes I just take a moment to just have that encounter and not walk past it and simply say, I just want to thank you for doing the work you do to keep the bathroom clean. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me as a traveler.
That's great. That's awesome.
Just one encounter, one chance, right?
Yes, it's not even just the fact that you would have missed the opportunity on, that power of that moment. It's that the opportunity that the person that you had given the compliment or the accolade to, they missed it then if you've got that sort of limiting belief, or that discomfort or whatever. So I think the idea here is to really wouldn't it be cool if we just kind of challenged ourselves to shut down that mindset of when we get into those crazy thoughts and we start to limit ourselves from embracing a particular moment, whether it's for our benefit or for the benefit of somebody else, really sort of change the behavior. And I think the benefit that will come to our listeners is that you'll all of a sudden find you're just a little bit happier and you're experiencing these moments that you obviously wouldn't have if you didn't,
And every day, and every day are those moments, every single day. Like I go on one plane flight, then I was thinking about it. A woman sitting beside me, I couldn't help it overhear. She was on her phone. It was her birthday and she had to travel to Spartanburg and she had to take 4 flights. And, again, I didn't want to eavesdrop, but I just happened to be behind her. I just said, hey, by the way, happy birthday. Just that, couldn't help but hear it was your birthday day. I know it's a hard day. Have a wonderful flight. It's one encounter, one chance. It may be helping that person who's 4'2" put a bag in an overhead bin. And not to turn away.
You're always giving out good energy, Lauren. That's the one thing that we've liked about you forever. You've got an abundant attitude. Hey, so what are the takeaways that our listeners can grab from this vlog today?
I think one is to be self-aware and to look for every one of those encounters, right? And not to be burdened by it, but just to look for it and to turn it into a positive moment, to take the chance. And the second, what you said, Lynette, is don't create a story in your head about looking away, because there are lots of reasons to look away, but then you miss that moment.
Yeah, so change the story.
Change the story. And if we just do that, we make the world a better place, and we make our workplaces better, we make our cultures better. And that's why we do these podcasts on that.
Exactly. All right, Lauren, as always, it's a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Change your wardrobe next time, too.
I will. Okay, have a great night.
Bye.